Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to dive into Cardano blockchain development services and what makes them so unique.
That's good.
We're going to explore what makes Cardano a popular choice for building efficient and impactful blockchain applications.
Right.
It's a third-generation blockchain, known for its scalability, sustainability, and security.
Yeah.
But what does all that really mean
Right.
for someone who wants to actually use it? Well, we're going to be talking about things like energy-efficient transactions, super secure smart contracts,
Interesting.
and even the ability to work with other blockchains.
Yeah. Definitely important these days.
Now, I know third-generation blockchain sounds pretty complex,
It can be, yeah.
but I think you can help us make sense of it all.
I'll try my best.
What makes Cardano stand out from the crowd, especially compared to earlier blockchains like Bitcoin?
Well, one of the really cool things about Cardano is how it solves the problem of scalability, which has always been a problem for earlier blockchains.
Yeah, for sure.
It uses something called the Ouroboros protocol,
Okay.
which is a proof-of-stake system.
So what does that mean for people who aren't super familiar with that kind of terminology?
Sure. So that means that instead of the energy-intensive mining that Bitcoin uses, Cardano users can validate transactions by staking their own coins.
Gotcha.
This is way better for the environment, but it also means that more people can participate.
Okay, so more sustainable and more accessible.
Exact.
I like it. So
Yeah.
Cardano is designed to handle a lot more transactions without using a ton of energy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. But our source material also mentions a layered design. What's that all about? And why should we care?
Ah, yes. That's key to its efficiency.
Okay.
It basically separates the architecture into two layers: settlement and computation. This means transactions are processed separately from the more complex computations needed for things like smart contracts.
So it's kind of like a division of labor.
Yeah, you can think of it like having dedicated lanes on a highway. Keeps everything moving smoothly and prevents bottlenecks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine a large-scale application like a supply chain platform built on Cardano.
Right.
It could handle huge volumes of transactions without slowing down.
Exactly. And that's one of the big advantages of Cardano's architecture.
Wow. Pretty impressive.
It can scale to meet growing demands without sacrificing speed or security.
Speaking of security, that's something that I know a lot of our listeners are concerned about.
For sure.
Especially when it comes to blockchain.
Of course.
How does Cardano measure up in that department?
Security is super important for Cardano, and they take a very unique approach to making sure everything is safe.
Okay.
One method they use is called formal verification.
Formal verification. What is that?
So what's really interesting about formal verification is that it uses math to guarantee that the code is accurate and secure.
Oh, wow.
This basically minimizes the risk of errors or vulnerabilities, which is crucial for building trust in the platform.
Yeah, you don't want any surprises with your code.
It's like having a mathematically proven guarantee that your smart contract will do what it's supposed to do.
That level of certainty is reassuring.
Right.
Especially if you're dealing with sensitive information.
Absolutely.
And speaking of sensitive information, we can't forget about the environmental impact.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Our source material highlights how Cardano's proof-of-stake model significantly reduces energy consumption compared to proof-of-work blockchains.
Huge difference.
So that has major implications for building sustainable applications.
Definitely. Imagine something like a healthcare app built on Cardano.
Okay. Yeah.
You can make sure patient data is secure while also being good to the environment.
A win-win.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about smart contracts.
Okay.
Cardano has its own platform for building them called Plutus.
That's right.
What makes Plutus unique in the world of smart contracts?
Well, Plutus is designed to be powerful and reliable, and one of its standout features is the use of the Haskell programming language. Interesting.
What's cool about this is that developers can use Haskell for both on-chain and off-chain code, which makes it extra secure and reliable.
Okay, so why Haskell? What makes that the best choice?
Haskell's known for being very robust, which makes it great for applications where security is really important.
So it's like having a super secure foundation for your smart contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you give us a real-world example of how this might be used?
Absolutely. Imagine a DeFi platform built on Cardano.
Okay.
With Plutus, you could make a system where lending and borrowing are automated with minimal risk.
Gotcha.
The underlying code, thanks to Haskell, is incredibly resilient and less prone to errors or vulnerabilities.
So Plutus seems like a really powerful tool for building these kinds of applications.
It is.
But what about interoperability? Can Cardano work with other blockchains?
This is where Cardano really shines.
Okay.
Interoperability is a core part of its design.
So what does that mean, practically speaking?
It means that Cardano is built to work with other blockchain ecosystems.
Interesting.
This opens up a ton of possibilities for developers, like cross-chain transactions and applications that work across different blockchains.
So if I'm building a gaming app, users could potentially trade in-game assets across different blockchains.
Exactly. It's all about creating a more interconnected blockchain universe.
That's amazing. So Cardano is working to break down the walls between different blockchains.
That's the goal. And they're actively working on integrating with big blockchains like Ethereum.
Very cool. This is all incredibly exciting.
It is.
We've talked about the technical side of things, but one thing that I find really interesting is Cardano's approach to governance.
Yeah, it's pretty unique.
Can you tell us more about that?
So unlike a lot of other blockchains, Cardano has a decentralized governance system.
Okay.
What this means is that everyone who holds Cardano's native cryptocurrency, ADA, gets a say in how the platform develops.
That's pretty cool.
Kind of like a democracy for the blockchain.
Interesting. So it's not just a tech platform, it's a community-driven ecosystem.
Right.
But how does this actually work in practice?
Well, Cardano uses a treasury system where some of the transaction fees are used to fund future projects.
I see.
Anyone can propose projects, and then the community votes on which ones get funded.
So the community has a lot of power.
They do. It makes sure the platform keeps evolving based on what the users want.
It's a very interesting concept. Can you give us a concrete example of how this model could be applied?
Sure. Imagine a decentralized voting platform built on Cardano.
Okay.
Because of this governance model, you could create a system where every vote is secure, transparent, and can't be tampered with.
Wow, that's huge.
It could really change how we think about fair and democratic elections.
It seems like Cardano's approach to blockchain development is really different.
It is.
It combines cutting-edge technology with a real focus on community and sustainability.
Yeah, it's not just about the tech, it's about building a better future.
We've covered a lot of ground already, and I'm definitely seeing the potential of Cardano. But let's take a moment to let everything sink in, and we'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good. So one thing we didn't really talk about yet is the team behind Cardano.
Yeah, actually.
They have a really strong academic background, and they take development very seriously.
That's something that I noticed in the research, too.
Yeah.
It definitely makes them seem more credible.
It does.
It seems like they're really committed to doing things the right way.
Yeah, they're all about quality.
That's great.
A lot of their development process actually involves peer review.
Interesting.
Which is really important in academia.
Right.
This means that experts in the field are checking every step.
Makes sense.
To make sure everything is high quality and secure.
So it's like a built-in quality control system.
Exactly. And that helps build trust, especially with something as complex as blockchain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for someone who's thinking about building on Cardano, this has to be really reassuring.
Absolutely. And if you look at their roadmap,
Okay.
they have a lot of exciting developments planned.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they're constantly trying to improve scalability.
Okay.
They're planning to implement things like Hydra, which is a layer 2 scaling solution.
And what does that mean for someone who's not a tech expert?
Basically, it's a way to make the network even faster at handling the transactions.
So even faster and more efficient transaction processing.
Exactly. The goal is to be able to handle millions of transactions per second.
Yeah.
Which would put it on par with some of the biggest payment systems in the world.
That's incredible.
It could be huge for all sorts of applications.
That makes sense. What else is in the works for Cardano?
Another big focus is interoperability, like we talked about before.
Right.
They're building connections to other major blockchains.
Okay.
To make it easier to move assets and information between different ecosystems.
So it's like building bridges between different blockchains.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine a future where moving tokens between Cardano and Ethereum is as simple as sending an email.
That's the idea.
It's mind-blowing to think about what that could enable.
It really is. It could revolutionize things like decentralized finance and cross-chain applications.
So Cardano is really trying to create a more connected blockchain universe.
Absolutely. It's about breaking down those silos.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Me too.
But with all this innovation comes a certain level of complexity, right?
It does.
Cardano seems like a pretty sophisticated platform to build on.
Yeah.
How accessible is it for new developers?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
There is definitely a learning curve.
Right.
But that's where the Cardano community comes in.
The community.
Yeah.
We talked about the governance model.
Right.
But it's clearly much more than just voting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right.
The Cardano community is amazing.
Okay.
They're so active and supportive.
So what makes them so special?
Well, it's a really diverse group of people.
Okay.
Developers, researchers, entrepreneurs,
Gotcha.
enthusiasts, and they're all really passionate about Cardano.
Yeah.
They've created a ton of resources for developers.
Like what kind of resources?
Documentation, tutorials, forums where you can get help from experienced users.
That's great.
It's really helpful.
So even if you're new to Cardano, you don't have to figure everything out on your own.
Exactly. There's this whole network of people who are ready to help.
It's awesome that they're so welcoming.
It is. And that's one of the things that makes Cardano so unique.
Okay.
It's not just about the technology, it's about the people.
The human element.
It's about working together, sharing knowledge,
Yeah.
and having a shared vision for the future.
I love that. It's great to see this kind of community in the tech world.
Me too. It's really refreshing.
It can be pretty impersonal sometimes.
You can.
You know, as we're talking, I keep thinking about how Cardano could impact different industries.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk about that.
What are some of the real-world applications that you're most excited about?
Well, we already mentioned supply chain management, healthcare, and DeFi.
Right.
But honestly, there's so much potential. Imagine using Cardano for secure voting systems.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
Or for managing digital identities in a way that gives people more control over their data.
It's really interesting to think about all the possibilities.
It is. These are just a few examples, but really the possibilities are endless.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with Cardano.
We are. And that's what makes it so exciting. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And the community is always pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's really inspiring.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical side of Cardano, its governance model, its community, and its potential impact.
Right.
But what about the risks?
Yeah, that's important to consider too.
Are there any downsides or challenges that people should be aware of?
Of course. Like any new technology, there are always risks.
Okay.
Some people are concerned that Cardano is still relatively young compared to other blockchains like Ethereum.
So it's kind of like investing in a startup.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's potential, but there's also risk.
Right.
What else?
Another potential challenge is regulation.
Okay.
Governments are still figuring out how to deal with cryptocurrencies and blockchain.
It's true.
This uncertainty could make things difficult for Cardano moving forward.
Yeah, that's a big question mark for the whole crypto space.
It is.
Not just Cardano.
Right.
It's definitely something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
But even with these challenges, there seems to be a lot of optimism around Cardano.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's because Cardano is built on really strong fundamentals.
Okay.
It has a great technical foundation, a passionate community, and a clear vision for the future.
So it's more than just hype.
Yeah, it's about something bigger.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
So if someone is listening to this and they're intrigued by Cardano, but they don't know where to start, what advice would you give them?
I would say the first step is to just learn more. There's a ton of information online. Like you can check out the official Cardano website, community forums, educational platforms.
Gotcha.
Just dive in, explore, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
And the Cardano community is known for being really helpful.
They are. It's a great place to connect with other people who are interested in this stuff.
So get involved, engage with the community, and start exploring.
Exactly. You might just find yourself getting hooked.
I think you might be right about that. This deep dive into Cardano has been so insightful.
It has been.
I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
Me too. It's always fun to explore these emerging technologies and see what they can do.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything we wanted to discuss about Cardano blockchain development services.
I think so.
It's been a really interesting conversation.
It has.
And I hope our listeners now have a better understanding of this platform.
Me too. We've broken down a complex topic into smaller pieces and hopefully sparked some curiosity along the way.
Speaking of sparking curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time for our final thought-provoking question.
Okay, I love a good thought-provoking question.
To leave our listeners with as we wrap up this episode.
Great idea.
So here it is. Given Cardano's emphasis on interoperability, what are the potential benefits and challenges of a future where different blockchains can seamlessly interact?
That's a great question. It really gets to the heart of Cardano.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the potential benefits like cross-chain applications and increased liquidity. But the challenges are just as important.
Absolutely.
How do we make sure everything is secure and stable in a multi-chain world?
Right.
How do we deal with different governance models, and consensus mechanisms across blockchains?
These are all important questions that we'll need to figure out.
We will.
As we move towards a more interconnected blockchain future.
For sure.
It's exciting, but also uncharted territory.
It is. And I think Cardano is in a great position to lead the way.
Yeah.
With its focus on interoperability and its amazing community.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely well said.
Thank you.
I think that's a great place to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
Sounds good.
A huge thank you to you for being here today.
Of course. It's been a pleasure.
And sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
We hope you learned something new today.
I hope so.
And that you'll continue to explore the world of Cardano.
Yeah. Keep learning.
Who knows? Maybe you'll even become part of this amazing community.
It's a great community to be a part of.
It is. Well, until next time, happy diving.
Stay curious, everyone.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. You know, as we wrap up our look at Cardano, I wanted to go back to something that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The Cardano community.
Yeah.
It seems like they play a really big role in how the platform grows and develops.
Oh, absolutely. The Cardano community is one of its strongest points.
Yeah, for sure. What makes them so special?
They're incredibly passionate, knowledgeable, and they're really involved in shaping what Cardano becomes in the future.
It's not just a group of techies, right?
Oh, definitely not. It's a diverse group of people from all over the world. Developers, researchers, entrepreneurs, investors, everyday users who believe in Cardano's vision.
And what is that vision?
A more decentralized future.
It's really cool that they're not just using the platform.
Right.
They're actually helping to shape it.
Exactly. They're always coming up with new ideas.
Okay.
Building tools and applications.
Yeah.
And teaching other people about Cardano.
It's a true community effort.
Yeah, it really is.
And that community-driven approach seems to be a core part of Cardano.
It is.
We talked about the governance model where everyone with ADA gets to vote on how the platform develops.
Exactly. Cardano is designed to be owned and operated by its users.
Okay.
Not by one company.
So it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about a philosophy.
Exactly. It's about decentralization and giving power to the community.
I think that's why so many people are drawn to Cardano.
I think so too. It's a move away from these big centralized systems.
Yeah.
And towards a more democratic and inclusive way of using technology.
It's amazing to see so many people coming together.
It is.
To build something like this.
It really is something special.
As we wrap up our deep dive, I'm really optimistic about the future of Cardano.
Me too.
It's obviously still early days.
Right.
But it seems like it has everything it needs to be successful.
It does.
A solid technical foundation.
Yeah. An
amazing community. And a bold vision.
A vision for a more decentralized world.
That's what I find so inspiring about Cardano.
I agree. It's not just about making money or building cool tech.
Yeah.
It's about using technology to make the world a better place.
And create a more fair and sustainable world.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to say about Cardano.
I think so.
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And sharing your expertise.
I always enjoy these conversations.
Me too. And to all of our listeners out there.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We hope you've learned something new.
And that you'll keep exploring Cardano.
Yeah, maybe you'll even become a part of the community.
That would be great.
Thanks again for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Stay curious and keep on diving.